Morning, beautiful black people. All right. Morning, Pam. Let's get ready to go live this morning. Let's make it do what it does. Morning, good morning, good morning. ER, good morning, good morning. All right. Let's bring Periscope up. And we're going to make it do what it does this morning. Let's see. All right, let's do it.
Shit on the shelf, cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My life done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf, cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My life done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money, money, money. Money,
There's nothing wrong with being wealthy. Like Kanye West said, having money is not everything, but not having it is. No, dude already ate things that God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. If you don't like money so much, why do you get up and go to work? First thing you do is think about one of the things that my thing you have to say. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Mr. H. Cortez.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Line with your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the black community. Everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Worklock Realty Studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Guys, if you are in the St. Louis area and you are interested at all in the game of real estate, and maybe you have not started the process of understanding how to get your test taken and all that kind of stuff, my aunt is looking for an apprentice. So give Edie Kane Hoskins a call at 314-477-1797. Again, that's 314-477-1797. Tell her the financial health mentor sent you to learn about real estate. And if you've already got the taking a course, but maybe you can't pass your test, she wants to help you get that done. In exchange, you guys will be helping her show some of her listings and help put signage up and find buyers and all of that good stuff. And she's going to split commissions with you, as well as help you get licensed if this is something that you want to do. So do me a huge favor, if you're checking this out on Periscope, then go ahead and share this show or the stream with your followers. And make sure you tap the screen for the hearts. Obviously that means something on Periscope. I'm not sure, I'm new to Periscope. But YouTube guys, we are about 75 away from 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe channel if you haven't already. And go ahead and copy the link and share it on your favorite social media timeline. And you guys on Facebook, you guys know the deal. If you haven't already shared it, please do so. Please give me a reminder to share it, or give everybody in the group a reminder to share it mid-show for those who jump on a little bit late. And tap the screen and do the likes and the hearts and the shares, because that's what allows a show like this to compete with a lot of the ratchetness that is out there on Facebook. So before we get into our announcements, I'd like to let you know exactly who the show is for. The show is for risers and grinders, man. You've got to be ready to get up, get out, and get something. If that's you, this is your show. This show is for legacy builders, man. I'm about building a legacy for my family, laying a solid foundation for my children to build upon. If that's you, then this is your show. This show is for those who want more out of life, man. You're not content. You're looking at the things that are going on and current events and in the state of our community, and you want to do something about that. If that is you, then this is your show. On the other hand, who is the show not for? The show is not for the person who's got that weird relationship with money, right? You think money is evil, capitalism is a dirty word, you think wealthy people are snobs. Well, if that's you, this ain't your show, right? Because what you don't realize is when you have that kind of relationship with money, you tend to repel money away from you instead of attracting it to you. And this show is about wealth and not money. See, wealth is about an abundance of resources. Money is just a single resource, right? So we are looking for those or coming to those who are serious about building wealth and generational wealth at that. I'm not building wealth so I can look good, ride, fly. No, I'm building wealth so my children's children can have that wealth for generations to come. So, like I tell you each and every morning, I have no problem with you not wanting to be wealthy. That's your prerogative. If you're comfortable and content with where you are, good for you. I'm not, and I'm striving for greater. If you've never seen a future billionaire before, and yes, that's billion with a B, I want you to take a screenshot, and watch me work. 5 to 10 years, 2027, it's a done deal. It's a wrap. See, I'm already a billionaire right now. I just know that I have to take certain actions for those billions to manifest, right? So that's the name of the game. A couple quick announcements before we get into today's show. We're talking about freedom ain't free, y'all, and it never goes on sale. Put that in the chat for me. Freedom ain't free, and it never goes on sale. Right? We're going to talk about the price of freedom. But before though, let me give you a quick announcement, guys. If you are serious about your business and you want to take your business to the next level and you want to learn how to use video effectively in your business, then you want to register for the video marketing course that I have coming up this Wednesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. That's June 21st. Just $47. I will give you my tips and tricks on how I use video to help me recruit over 100 people personally into my business, how I exploded my brand, increased my Facebook fan likes to close to 14,000 or something like that using video. Video allows people to know, like, and trust you. And they will never do business until that is first accomplished. So register for that video marketing class, and I will give you my blueprint and my game plan on how I use video to explode my brand. Also, the Black Wealth Movement. If you are serious about building wealth, then wealth is a team sport. You might want to get involved with a team of wealth builders that can help you get that thing done a lot faster than you ever can on your own. We have a blueprint and a game plan that is creating millionaires by the day, right? Millionaires by the day. So if you want to learn more about that, comment Black Wealth Movement or inbox me privately, and I will get you in touch with somebody who's willing to pay it forward for you to join the movement today. So we're talking about the price of freedom, right? Freedom ain't free, never has been, never will be, and nor does it ever go on sale. I was looking at some of the news coverage of the Philando Castile case. Of course, we know that the officer that killed the young brother is not going to get any time and has been acquitted of all charges. And I think we as a people are waiting on freedom, or the price of freedom, or the cost of freedom to go down. We're waiting on freedom to go on sale, so to speak. And it's never going to happen, y'all. It's never going to happen. We talked a little bit about this a few weeks back when I did a show on ownership, man. And this is along the same lines, because what I want you to realize, I don't know if you guys saw any of the images. I almost did this show on Zoom today so I can do some screen share stuff with you guys, a la Boyce Watkins, but I said, no, I'm just going to do the regular show. But I was sitting back and I was looking at, I think it was Friday night, and all of the people that were marching through downtown St. Paul. Now, don't get this twisted. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm never one to tell anybody how to vent your frustrations, how to protest. Do you? But I'm looking at all of those people who were marching Friday night. It must have been 5, 6, 7,000 people, right? St. Paul Minnesota is a decent sized city, but it's not tremendous. But I'm thinking about what would be a better way to show your disdain for what most people are perceiving is the lack of justice, right? They feel that something should have taken place. Bethany is over on Periscope, says she don't want to keep having trouble on YouTube. They want something to take place, and I want you guys to realize what's happening. You guys want something different to take place. You're talking about justice. You want to see justice take place, and I'm here to tell you that justice is taking place. What do you mean by that? I'm here to tell you that the reason these officers keep getting off is because they're doing exactly what they've been trained and commanded to do. If these officers continue to kill black men in cold blood and never face any jail time, then you have to understand that that must be the mandate placed on them by their superiors. We, the people, are saying, hey, something is gravely wrong with that. The authorities are saying, nope, he did nothing wrong. That's exactly what they must have wanted him to do. That must be how they trained them to do that. So I'm looking at these droves of people marching, and I'm just saying to myself, that's a lot of people that are out there frustrated, right? And showing their frustration on a Friday night, willing to show their frustration by being out in the streets in a form of protest, right? But how many of you would be willing to bet that all of those people that were out there on Friday night protesting is up and dressed and ready to go to work this morning? Yeah, so, and we have a cop on Periscope right now saying, yes, that's how they are trained. How many of you guys, believe that all of those 5, 7, 10,000 people that were out protesting, showing their disdain, is up and ready to go to work this morning if they're not already at work? See, if you want to bring a city to justice, you want to bring a community to justice, there's only one way to do it. There's only ever been one way when you're dealing in a capitalistic democracy, right? Bethany said the North Side is a black neighborhood that they assign predominantly white officers to go patrol, right? And we have a good amount of black officers in the city of St. Louis. They could have black people patrolling that. So if you wanted to hurt that city, I would have reversed the roles. Nobody show up and show no disdain and no reaction to that news on Friday. But today, nobody show up at work either. What do you think happens if nobody shows up at work? If that same 7, 8, 9, 10,000 people, whatever that number was, that was a gob of people, right? I watched it so much so that they had to show helicopter views, a gob of people. What happens if all of those people don't show up at work today? Ask yourself that. What happens if all of those people said, you know what, we're going to take this protest one step further. We're not going to show up to work today. And that's how we're going to show our discontent with what's going on. You think the city might lose a few dollars? You think the city might lose a few dollars? When you cost people money, only then will they really affect change. The city might lose a few dollars behind something like that, right? But here's why we can't pull a move like that, right? Because the currency, the universal currency for freedom is sacrifice. The universal currency for freedom is sacrifice. While those people were willing to sacrifice a little bit of their time on Friday to walk the streets, they were willing to sacrifice a little bit of their comfort to be out walking, because they walked a couple miles, so that might have been uncomfortable for a few people. They were willing to sacrifice a little bit of physical energy to show up and to show this thing. Ron Martin from Cincinnati on Periscope. But if they were willing, or are they willing to sacrifice their jobs by not showing up at work today? Or are they willing to sacrifice their jobs by not showing up at work today? Because the universal currency of freedom is sacrifice. And a lot of times we will only sacrifice those things which we are conveniently willing to give up. And that is not sacrifice. If you give up something that you don't care for, you're not sacrificing anything. Most of those people who are out there protesting on Friday night don't do nothing on Friday nights anyway. So they didn't really give up anything, right? Most of those people are used to walking a couple miles. It's not like they were in wheelchairs or anything. So they didn't really give up anything to show their disdain for what happened. See, sacrifice is all about alone in the form of a Federal Reserve note. Say, why are you chasing liberty in the form of a Federal Reserve note? I don't know if that's chasing liberty, right? Right? But it's what you're doing is you have to lay something of value on the line. You have to lay something of value on the line in order to pay the true cost of freedom. So I looked at more images because yesterday on Father's Day they were at I guess that was the court building, or maybe that was the Justice Center in St. Paul, or maybe that was the I don't know if that was the City Hall steps or whatever, but another couple thousand people are there. And I'm looking at the crowd as you have different shots, and everybody has got their signs, everybody's got their banners, everybody has got their their t-shirts and all of that kind of stuff. I just got one question. Where did they go get all that stuff from? You have people coming into St. Paul from other areas. Where do they stay at when they got to St. Paul? See, these things, these situations are almost becoming like a way for a city to infuse capital into their infrastructure. How many people got arrested? That feeds the general question. She said, "Why did we pay a bill with a bill?" That's a topic for another question. I mean, that's a question for another show. We can get into currency or on another show, and the value thereof, or the lack of value thereof on currency. But when you think about all of those people who had all of those signs, who had all of those banners, who had all of those t-shirts made, where did they get all that stuff from? You understand? So we are trying to protest, and I got a quote that speaks very clearly to this from my man Evan today for today's daily quote. I'll give it to you in a second. You have to ask yourself, you have thousands of people flood into a city. What did they eat? Where did they eat? Thousands of people flooded into a city. Where did they sleep? Thousands of people flooded to a community to protest with signs, banners, t-shirts. Where did they get all that stuff? You got to ask yourself that, y'all. So freedom ain't free, man. And it never goes on sale. If you want to make something happen against what it is that you are trying to stand up for, money is the only thing that is really recognized in this country. And when we came, when those people flooded into that city, and those people in anticipation of the verdict, went out to Walmart, Walgreens, Sam's, wherever they got their poster boards from, wherever they got their markers from, wherever they got their poster sticks from, wherever they got their t-shirts from, and got even if they went to a black-owned t-shirt person who got the design printed on the shirt, that person had to buy those t-shirts wholesale from who? So we flooded into a city to protest injustice, and we flooded that city with capital that continues to support the injustice that we're protesting. So we flooded into that city and just fed the beast, is what I'm saying. We flooded into that city and just fed that beast. Because we don't understand real protest. We don't understand real warfare. We don't understand that the machine runs on capital. We don't understand that. We don't understand that. So before we go any further, I want to talk about some things that you have to be willing to sacrifice in order to secure freedom. There are some things that you have to be willing to sacrifice in order to secure freedom, right? But let me give you my quote of the day, man, because it's funny that I was supposed to do this quote of the day on Friday morning show, and I let the show get away from me, and I didn't get it in, and now it has come full circle. Quote of the day says this: we morally support our friends and financially support our enemies. Our money and morals are misaligned. Let's say it again. We morally support our friends and financially support our enemies. Our money and morals are misaligned. Hashtag we sick, boss. Y'all already know where that comes from. Today's quote of the day comes from ERGJ Enterprises and my man Evan Jefferson. New book has been sent to press, The Black Billionaires Club. If you have not already ordered your copy of The Black Billionaires Club, I want you to go to www.theblackbillionairesclub.com to place your order. The book is on schedule for its July 4th release, and it's strategically being released on Independence Day, because when you understand the rules of money, then you can truly liberate yourself. So it's by design that the book is being released on Independence Day. So go to www.theblackbillionairesclub.com to get your copy of the book. If you suffer from a severe case of broke, then ERGJ Enterprises fixes broke. So you can go to www.ergj.net to learn more about getting a cure for broke from my man Evan Jefferson. So you have to understand that, again, we morally support our friends and financially support our enemies. Our money and morals are misaligned. We sick, boss. We real sick, boss. We real sick. So we flooded into a city because of as usual, we are, as usual, when it comes to us, it's very easy to stoke the emotions of black people, and then we tend to be led by our emotions. Because we were emotional, because we were upset, right? We stormed out and we said, hey, I'm going to go show my disdain for this verdict. I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm going to buy some markers. I'm going to buy some poster boards. And I'm going to create a sign that says F the police or whatever, right? In anticipation of the verdict, we went and hollered at my mans and them down the street who do t-shirts and say, hey man, I want a Philando Castile t-shirt done. And we flooded them so much that they sold out of t-shirts and they had to go call their wholesaler and they had to buy 20,000 more t-shirts, right? But those t-shirts didn't come from us, right? A lot of us came in from other cities. And I say us, not just black people, but the protesters came in from other cities. And as they came in from other cities, they needed lodging, right? Where did they stay? Right? A lot of us, when we got there, we didn't pack a lunch. So where did we eat? Right? So we just infused the tax base of a city that trains their officers in a way that basically grants them the authority to snuff out life, black life, for any and every little thing. And now we just grown that beast. And now we went there using from an emotional standpoint, in an emotional state where we're not able to think clearly, and we probably just infused that town with $1 million. I don't know how many people got arrested. 18 people got arrested yesterday. But if you think about a crowd that size over the weekend, they probably arrested a couple hundred people. Even though those couple hundred people were they're menial charges, right? They're menial, but you still got to pay court costs to deal with those tickets, those menial charges. You still got to pay tickets. Some of us are going to say, okay, I'm not paying this stuff. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to trial. You still got to pay the justice system. You got to pay for an attorney. All of those folks work together, man. See, when you hire an attorney, you think an attorney works for you. An attorney works for the justice system. All of that stuff works together. But just imagine if nobody showed up on the streets on Friday. If nobody showed up, it says we should research and see if these cities are in financial trouble, or maybe it's the start of gentrification type things. Oh, definitely. Even if it wasn't pre-planned, they knew or they know how to capitalize on the situation. It's like I said, if they arrested 200 people, and that means those 200 people have to go to court over some little incident, some misdemeanor charge of whatever, and those 200 people have to pay a couple $100s each, that's money that's flooding into that city. Again, how many of the fast food restaurants got packed out when that mob, that crowd of people of 7, 8, 9,000, whatever the number was, when that crowd finally dispersed, how many fast food restaurants in St. Paul did they flood into? The crowd finally dispersed, how many fast food joints or food joints did they flood into? Right? How much gas was purchased from the local gas stations and the convenience stores and all that kind of stuff? See, this thing that we do when we do this stuff on the whim and without strategic planning, a lot of times it does a lot more harm than good. I would have rather those people put their jobs on the line and said, you know what? We're not going to work this week because we don't like what y'all did. But in order for someone to make that decision, they have to be willing to lose their livelihood. And that's why I said the universal currency of freedom is and has always been and will always be sacrifice. That's the universal currency. You have to bring something to the table and be willing to lose it all in order to gain your freedom. And we aren't at that place yet where we're willing to lose it all. Right? When you stand up against an injustice like this, then you could lose a job. You could lose some relationships. Right? I lost a relationship with at that time my boss when we went through the whole situation here in St. Louis with Mike Brown. Because he wanted to tell me that because there was an alleged altercation between Mike Brown and Darren Wilson, that it was okay for the officer to kill Mike Brown. And he said, well, the officers, you know, they're supposed to use a next level of force against, you know, any threat. And I'm saying that, first of all, whether that is the case or not, how are they trained? You're saying that because Mike Brown is a black man. You're not saying that if Mike Brown was your kid, you wouldn't be saying the same thing. You wouldn't be saying that I understand that the officer should have used the next level of force, right? So basically it says that if he was saying that if a assailant brings out a knife, then the officer brings out his gun, right? If the assailant attacks with fists, then the officer attacks with a taser, right? That's kind of where he was getting at, is they have to you know, take the next level of force, right? But you're not going to tell me that if that was your kid, you'd be okay with that. You'd be saying the same thing that Mike Brown's parents and everybody else's parents. Why didn't you wait for backup? Why didn't you pull out your taser? Why didn't you pull out your stick? And you pull out your gun and shoot that man so many times, right? So, but because we move with so much emotion, and there's no tactic, there's no strategy with how we move, then we basically continue to fuel the machine of injustice against us. Right? We fuel the machine of injustice against us because we're not willing to sacrifice any, I recognize universal currency as God's money, gold. Got you. But not when it comes to freedom, though. See the universal currency of and I would argue that God's currency isn't gold either. But the universal currency of freedom is sacrifice. You got to sacrifice, be willing to sacrifice everything if you want freedom. Why? Because freedom is everything. See, we want freedom to go on sale, or we want the cost of freedom to go on sale because we don't want to give up everything to gain everything. We want to give up a little bit to gain everything, and that's not how it works. That's not how it works. In order to gain everything, you have to be willing to give up everything. Are you willing to give up your job to stand on the square of justice for your people? Are you willing to give up some long-lasting relationships with friends and family members who don't understand your fight and your struggle for justice? Are you willing to give up your home? Are you willing to give up your life potentially to fight for justice, to fight for freedom? Until you're willing to risk it all for your freedom, you'll never know freedom. Because freedom is everything. So in order to get freedom, you have to be willing to put everything on the line to get it. You have to be willing to put everything on the line to get freedom, because freedom is everything. Right? So imagine those people don't go to work today. What happens when 50% of the buses can't run? Because you got a lot of bus drivers who are on the protest line. Right? What happens when a lot of the restaurants and hotel chains can't serve their people because 50% of their workforce is out? What happened when the government offices can't function because 50% of the workforce is out? Is that a better message to send, that we're not going to stand for this type of justice? But we can't do that because we're not, because we're giving other people permission to feed us on our jobs. And when you give other people permission to feed you, you give those same people permission to starve you. Right? When you give other people permission to feed you, you give other people permission to starve you. So the reason you can't walk off your job is because your job is your only source of income. The reason you can't walk off your job because you don't own anything. See, if we didn't get caught up in the American nightmare masquerading as the American dream that says go out and get yourself a house, a car, a 2 cars or a 3-car garage, and we just said, hey, I've been working. If we didn't fall into that trap, which the American dream is to finance your lifestyle. You guys realize that? When you're promoted, or when it's promoted to go after the American dream is a financed lifestyle. And you know who puts the money behind promoting the American dream? The people who do the financing, the banks. Right? So they put the most money behind you pursuing the American dream because the American dream is a financed lifestyle. That's why you gotta love Evan Jefferson. Free man, no debt, strategically moves and throughout the country the way that he wants, because he understands the American dream is a financed lifestyle. So because you have financed your entire life, you are tethered to a job that you chances are that you don't like, that you don't want to be at. But because I don't own the land that my house sits on, I don't own the house, I've got to work or else they can come take my house away. Imagine if everybody owned their own land and you didn't have that mortgage. Then if you decided to walk off your job in a protest and your job says, okay, you can't come back. Hey, I own my own land. I got some skills. Since I own my own land, I can grow a little food. I don't, see, we are in a perpetual state of needing this system or this matrix in order to survive because we got caught up in purchasing the American nightmare. So now we need a job because we need the house that we finance, we need the car that we finance to get around. And that's where we lie today, caught up in this phony sham of an existence that's financed to the hilt. And that's what they know about us, is that we're not willing to make that sacrifice, let alone the ultimate sacrifice to lay our life down for what we say we believe in. We won't even lay our job down for what we say we believe in, because our job is our life. Y'all get that? Y'all get how they played us? Our job is our life. Because everything that we are is connected to our income. Now you realize how you're being played? Everything that you are, for most Americans, I'm not saying everybody who watches this show, but everything that most Americans are is connected to their income. And as a result, there's a lot of things that I want to do that I can't do because I'm scared to lose my job. I'm scared to lose that income. You see, and that's why, as a financial freedom fighter, the Black Wealth Movement is so important. Because I want you to understand something, man. It was independently wealthy people that created America, along with a few people who just didn't give a doggone. It was independently wealthy people that broke away from Great Britain and decided to do something different. And that's critically important to understand, because until we get enough independently wealthy people moving in the same direction, can't tell them nothing because they don't need nothing. Y'all get that? This is where the Black Wealth Movement is going. We're creating independently wealthy people moving in the same direction. Can't tell them nothing because they don't need nothing. See, when I'm independently wealthy, I don't give another man or another entity permission to feed me. Go out and feed myself. Pam said, I didn't know where you were going with this one. But independently wealthy should be the goal. Should be the goal. Yeah, New Black Wall Street. Independently wealthy should be the goal. Because I'm going to ask you a question, man. How do you stop a million millionaires seemingly disconnected but very much connected? On Twitter, on Periscope, saying, what if we teach 100 million Americans to save 10% of everything they own? That would be a wonderful thing, but I don't think it don't even take that many. It doesn't take that many. Evan has a couple hundred people in Club Millie, and they're doing some wonderful things with just a couple hundred people. And as that thing continues to grow, you're going to see something. A couple hundred people in the Black Wealth Movement becoming independently wealthy. It don't take 100 million of us. It don't take 100 million of us. And that's part of the problem too, is that everybody is sitting back waiting on everybody to join the party. Did y'all get that? Part of our problem is everybody is sitting back waiting for everybody else to join the party before they join the party. It's that same thing where nobody wants to be the first one on the dance floor, right? But if you come to a party and the dance floor is already full, you're more likely to get out there and make it happen. And cut a rug, as they say. But if the dance floor is empty, everybody is reluctant to be the first one on the dance floor. Nobody wants to sacrifice. Holding up the wall. Right. So the universal currency for freedom is sacrifice. What must be sacrificed for you to obtain your freedom? What must you sacrifice for you to attain your freedom? If freedom is literally everything, then in order to get it, you have to be willing to put everything on the line. That's the part that we don't get. Freedom is everything. Do y'all agree? If you agree, put freedom as everything. If you agree, type in the chat, freedom is everything. And in order to obtain freedom, you've got to be willing to put everything on the line to get it, including your life. See, there's a reason that a so-called terrorist moves in a certain way, because he's come to terms with his mortality. There is a reason that a so-called terrorist can move in a certain way. Because he's come to terms with his own mortality, and he's willing to put everything on the line for his cause. My people in St. Paul and Minneapolis, are you willing to put everything on the line for this cause? Or are you waiting or hoping for freedom to go on sale, where it won't cost you everything? I'm telling y'all right now, man, freedom never goes on sale. It always costs you everything, because freedom is everything. Freedom will always cost you everything. Now, you don't always have to pay everything, but you always have to be willing to put everything on the line. My girl Bethany is a cop in St. Louis City. She is a police officer. Every day she suits up to go to work. She has come to terms with putting everything on the line for what she believes is her cause, is her mission. Man, we don't wish any harm whatsoever on Bethany. But every day she suits up, she knows she is willing to put everything on the line. And what you have to look at is those in power that keep power and that are maintaining the status quo. That is their form of freedom. They have the freedom to do to black people, brown people, whatever it is they will. And how do they get and keep and maintain that freedom? By being willing to put everything on the line to keep that control. Yeah, we can't allow our personal feelings to get involved. We must remain non-biased. We have to. We have to. See, our personal feelings is what got us so emotionally. And when we're moving with emotion, it literally kills it. So I want you to think about something. As a youth basketball coach, right? As a youth basketball coach, it's bigger than currency. I get that you want everybody to move the goal, but it's bigger than currency. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. But when you move with emotions, right? There's a difference between passion and emotion, right? So I'm a youth basketball coach, and the one thing I have to keep my kids engaged in when we're coaching the game is I need you to be intense. Right? So when you're intense, you have passion, but you have that passion under control. You're controlling that passion. And when you're intense, but not overzealous, not upset, not frustrated, you can still think tactically. You can still think tactically. And you have to be able to think in warfare. But when we get emotional, now we're moving based on feelings. There's no logic, there's no intensity, there's no tactic, there's no strategy. That is moving on a feeling. And here's what's so dangerous about moving based on feeling. Those who have studied you your whole existence, well, not your whole existence because you existed before them, but those who have been studying you since they have gotten to the level to where they control you, is they control your emotions. If they know how you respond based on certain emotions, then they control your emotions, thus controlling your response. That's what's so dangerous about being emotional and putting our feelings in it. That's what's so dangerous. You guys know the term, somebody push your buttons, right? Give you another basketball reference. Dennis Rodman, arguably one of the greatest rebounders in the history, probably second to Moses Malone or somebody like that. He knew how to push the buttons of other players. He knew what their response would be when he pushed those buttons, because he knew when they got upset, he knew exactly how they respond and how they play and perform when they're upset. So he got them upset so he could control how they perform. So when someone can predict how you're going to behave when you're upset, when you're emotional, they keep you in that state because they know exactly how you're going to react. Then on top of that, you add to the fact that they've learned how to systematically capitalize on that response. Game over. Check and mate. Check and mate. When I know how you're going to respond when you are emotional, when you are upset, for instance, and I know exactly what to do to get you upset, and I know how to capitalize on your response from being upset, game, set, match. And I'm telling you today, until you're willing to sacrifice everything to obtain your freedom, which is everything, you will never have it. You'll never get it. You'll never get it. Are you willing to put everything on the line for your freedom? That's the question. Are you willing to put everything on the line for your freedom? Now, you might not have to give up everything, but you got to go all in. And that's what we're not willing to do just yet. And I understand it's not easy. We've got kids, right? We've got family. We've got friends. We got certain livelihoods and all of this kind of stuff, man. But if you're not willing to put all of that stuff on the line to go after your freedom, because there's no such thing as partly free, right? You're either free or you're not. There's no such thing as a little bit of freedom. Someone put a little bit on the line and get me a little bit of freedom. You're either free or you're not. So you can't just sacrifice a few things and get a little bit of freedom. It's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. And one of the things that is the biggest fear of mainstream America is conscious people learning how to build wealth. One of the biggest fears is that principled people, people with principles, people with morals, people with standards would gain wealth. Because it was those kinds of people, people who are willing to die for their beliefs, it's those kinds of people that change things. It's those kinds of people. So when you can become independently wealthy, that's why the Black Wealth Movement is so important. That's why building black wealth with Evan Jefferson is so important. Club Millie, New Black Wall Street is so important. It's because when you can become independently wealthy and you can stand on your square, you, my friend, become dangerous. So are you willing to lay it all on the line for your freedom? So keep in mind, guys, just to recap, today's daily quote, we morally support our friends and financially support our enemies. Our money and morals are misaligned. Hashtag we sick, boss. Evan Jefferson. TheBlackBillionairesClub.com to grab the book. ERGJ.net to learn more about his programs. May I friend request you on Facebook? Most definitely. I'm right around 5,000. So if it says I got too many friends, just send me a message and I'll boot some folks off, because we've got to. It's time for me to purge again anyway. So I'm gonna put out my post to say, hey, if you're not building black wealth, unfriend me. So that's gonna wrap up today's show, guys. Wednesday, I got another Ron Martin from Cincinnati. Okay, definitely, brother. I've got another My Brother's Keeper speaker series with a phenomenal young entrepreneur who's doing big things. You guys know that series is all about bringing on black men who are doing big things in entrepreneurship and big things in the community. So Wednesday, you guys want to buckle up and hold on tight. I got the your favorite entrepreneur's favorite entrepreneur, Marquel Russell, coming on Wednesday to share with us, drop some jewels on us on Wednesday. Also Wednesday night is the night that I have the video marketing class. Guys, if you're not using video in your business, then you want to take that class. $47 will get you that class, and I will give you my secrets on how I was able to explode my brand using video. Even if you're afraid to get in front of the camera, there's some other ways that you can use video where you never have to get on a camera, in front of a camera yourself. You just got to understand how to do and what to do, and I will show you that. I put the link in the description, so check that out. And also, Black Wealth, the Black Wealth Movement is where it's at, y'all. The Black Wealth Movement is where it's at. We've got to start pushing down the road of becoming independently wealthy. You do that with financial education first, starting to understand how the money game works in this country. Things like currency, you got to understand how that works. You got to understand what real currency, what real money is, what real wealth is, and we teach you all of that in the Black Wealth Movement. And we help you earn some additional money, help you turn your passions into profits, take any business and grow that to another level. So all of that is available for you when you join the Black Wealth Movement. So with that, guys, I am your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the black community. Until I talk to you guys tomorrow, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. Peace out, people.